Okay, we can already see the goals, so we're just a few steps away from implementing our socket chat. So let's go to the chat page and implement some functions. So we will have an array of messages here, which will be filled somehow. We will have a nickname, whatever. We will have a field to craft a new message, and we got the chat ID as well. Of course, this is messages. So a few things can be set directly. Navparams get our nickname, and also the chat ID is what we can get through this. So now it gets more interesting. We need a function to get the initial chat messages to actually fill the view with the messages. And therefore we need to go back to our chats and implement more or less the same like this. But of course, now we also append the chat ID, which is passed. And then we get an array of chat messages from the provider. So we can go back to our chats and call return this.chat provider. Or actually, we don't have to return it. We can just call it. No chat provider by now, of course. Private chat provider. And I think we also need socket again. So hopefully this works. So chat provider get chat messages for this.chat ID. And then subscribe to this, sorry. And the data we get will be set to our initial array of messages. Make sure to call the function actually, otherwise you won't get any messages. And then we need some more message functions. So we want to be able to send a message, and then we need a way to get messages, and I will tell you why. So we need to subscribe to our socket chat. We will build this into an observable. So new observable server, and then this.socket on. So if we receive a new chat message, we use the data to call observer next with a new value. So if we do it like this, we can easily subscribe to this. Of course, come on, observable from RxJS observable. Now we can easily subscribe to this function, and if there's a new message, we will get it. So say this dot get messages, subscribe, and once we get a new message, this message will simply be pushed to our messages array. Sounds a bit strange, but what is wrong? Okay. Of course, we need to return the observable, and now we can subscribe to this, and each time there's a new chat message, it will be pushed onto the stack of our messages. Now to send a message, we again use socket emit, which is the way of broadcasting an event or something. So the syntax we defined on the server side, and an object which will hold the message. This message from is our current nickname, and chat ID is this.chat ID. So if we emit this on the server side, it will be stored to the database, and then it will be broadcasted to all the listeners of that chat, so they will get the update for this. Now, I think the last missing part should be, the HTML for this chat. So perhaps I will copy in some CSS and you can use this later, because I don't think you need me writing some data, some CSS. So we have a color for username, a message, and my message. So a general message, my message, and other message. So just a few different colors. We display a time and the message row. I'm not even completely sure if we use this one. Yeah, we use it. So you can find this in the code for this course. And let's build this chat together as the last part we will together in this course. Oh, so sad. We got the grid, so we can easily align our messages, and the ng4 goes over message of messages. So each message is one row. And now this is a bit ugly perhaps, but they will be will take 9 columns, and this one will only be used if message from is not equal to our nickname. So in that case, we assume it's from somebody else. So the class message and other message is applied. In that case, we will use a span class username, and this will be message.from, perhaps like this. And then we got the actual text message, which is message.message. We can make this a bit more beautiful, right? Like this. And then we can also display the time if we want to. So this should be in message created at, we can take a look at this in the database. Once we actually got some data, use the pipe to make it look how you want to. This is just some idea. Now this row will only, or this column will only be displayed if it's from somebody else, and if the message is from ourselves, we add offset 3, and this means it will be aligned to the right side because we got 12 units space. So also this will be my message. The rest should be the same, I think. And finally, we add an ion footer, something we're not using very often. And inside an ion row, which is now the message row. So we got the white background. The first one, col9, and this will be to input a new message. No lines here. And ion input type is text, placeholder message, and the ng model is our variable message. Okay, the column is finished, and then we still hopefully got 3 units of space for an ion button, which is our send button. And on click, we call send message, and this button will be disabled when the message is empty. Send. Okay. So let's see, where is it? Let's refresh this one. So we join it as Simon. We go to the general chat and can't disabled. Okay, disabled. Perhaps it's more like this one. We need to start always at the beginning, otherwise our name will be empty. So hello from Simon. And there actually is a message, but will it be there if we go back? Yeah, it will. And now we take a look why. Now we got the chat messages collection, and inside the chat messages collection we got the created updated ad from our plugin. We got the message and the chat ID. So now we can go to different chats, Ionic, test, message, and there it is. So of course we need to test this with a friend, or just like this. Put a second view to the side, join as fake Simon, and where are we? Perhaps the general chat. And you can already see the styling differences. This is fake. I send it here, it immediately appears here. And this is the magic of Socket.io, because those guys are connected to the same room. They get the messages from our backend, so they can chat with each other. So we could also switch the chat, and then we would get the messages right here inside this one. Okay, I think we covered everything. Let's recap what we did. The final missing piece was to subscribe to our socket connection messages and return this as an observable. So each time a new message was broadcasted from the server, the message was added to our array. We retrieved the initial messages through the API in the beginning. And we can do almost anything right now. So from this point on, there are a few ideas. You can bounce around and there's a little text following. So if you want, just continue with that text or play around with the chat and add a few more functions.